Dusty, what a day.
What a day.
It's been pretty epic. We were up here, sunset, dinner time. We've got some, is it axis deer?
Yeah, we got an axis deer leg roast.
Okay, so we're gonna make something with an axis deer leg roast. We're actually sipping on this really delicious pickled margarita, which is going down a dang treat.
Heck yeah,
I've got
it
some
is.
artichokes, and I thought we'd whip up something yum to enjoy the sunset.
Perfect.
So these are some artichokes that I got from the local farmer's market. We're gonna throw these into our pot before. Just dump a bunch of water in there.
You want it to be like over the top?
Yep, we're gonna boil these artichokes till they get a little soft, and then I'm gonna finish them with a goat's brie. I'm also gonna throw in this little bit of pickle juice. Now, if you wanna grab that and just pop it into the coals, that'd be awesome. We need to get a good boil roll. So what we're gonna do is basically start to boil them down till they get nice and soft, and then we're going to drain all of the water off them. We're going to add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, some salt, some brie cheese, and we're going to bake them.
Right on.
Okay. All right, Dusty, you want to talk a little bit about what you've harvested here?
Yeah, so this is axis deer from the island of Lanai, out there in Hawaii, and yeah, we just shot this a couple years ago. No, last year bow hunting with some of my buddies.
Nice. So we've got a roast, is that right?
Yeah.
That's from the leg?
Yep.
Cool. So what I'm going to do is make a little bit of a dry rub for this, and make a bit of a, I guess more of a mopping dry sticky sauce. So I've got some molasses, I've got some date syrup, and then in here I've actually got some fennel, black pepper, and anise. So I'm going to get Dusty to like pound this down, make a little bit of a rub, and we're going to add a hope of like date syrup, molasses. We're going to grill it on the fire, and it's going to become really sticky, really like aromatic with these flavors.
Right on.
So I'm going to give you this,
Cool.
your favorite tool. I'm pouring
love
in
this
here. Here's your little mortar and pestle grinder. You're going to give that a good old mix up for me. And what I've got in here is equal parts molasses and date. So I want to say maybe like 1/3 of a cup of each, or around 1/2 a cup. I'm going to toss that in straight into our bowl. The reason I'm doing a combination is molasses can be like a deep dark molasses can actually be a little like salty. It can be quite like a strong flavor, and the date syrup kind of just adds a little sweetness to it. Axis deer meat, I would say, is quite different to like whitetail or something, wouldn't you say, Dusty? It's actually a really good eating.
The axis deer from Hawaii is by far my favorite meat that I've ever had.
It's
This
so
wild
yummy.
game.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just what the climate they're in or what they're eating, but it is like
pretty
it's
special.
so sweet, and it's always so tender. Doesn't matter if the bucks are rutting or not. It
is beautiful.
It's my
meat.
favorite.
And also in Hawaii, they're invasive, right?
Yes.
So you really need to be culling them. I think you can harvest them all year round. Is that correct?
Yes, and same with Texas.
Yeah.
They're in Texas as well.
Axis?
Yeah, but I don't think they taste as good.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah.
I wonder what that is.
I'd like to do a side-by-side
A
comparison.
little bit of extra virgin olive oil. I'm gonna pop a little bit of that on top. And then, Dusty, how's that looking?
We're getting there.
All right, I'm just tossing that molasses, date, olive oil, little paste in and around our axis deer here. And then, Dusty, how's your little dry rub looking?
It's looking pretty darn good. I'm almost there. A couple more turns on this thing.
I think we're good. All right, so I also added into there a little bit of sea salt and some onion powder. So Dusty, you want to give that a good stir up for me?
Yep.
Awesome. We've got our little outpost grill getting nice and hot over here. So it's really ready to put that meat on. With the roast, I'm not wanting to like overcook it or cook it for a long period of time. With deer meat, you really want to actually have a little bit more of a medium rare flavor to it versus, you know, like roasting it for a long period of time like lamb or something like that. So I'm probably going to give this around 30 minutes cooking on the outpost over here with the beautiful mesquite wood that we've been burning for a little while. Something about the wood itself is that you really want to burn your fire down for a good hour. I always say this, but if you've never watched one of my YouTubes before, I really want to make sure that you know that. So make sure your fire's, got some nice coals on it like this one. We're gonna rake some coals up underneath this particular outpost. It's really not that hot up here. I can almost put my hand there. So we're gonna go low on this, and I'm gonna rake some coals under there. We've got a little bit of wind tonight, so that's also a contributing factor to losing some of that heat. So what I'm gonna do is grab my shovel. Okay, so I'm gonna move this out. Favorite thing about this outpost is how easy it is to move it in and around our fire. Know that for a sec. And seeing as your hand's dirty, you can put the meat on our fire.
Perfect.
Build some of those coals up under our little outpost. Get this. Get it going. Center the bigger bits up through here, because this is where the most of the heat's going to be getting. Versus back here, you would tend to get less heat. You can already feel that it's not as hot as somewhere up through here. Beautiful. Look at that, love. And something you can do with these is actually like pre-marinate it like ahead of time. So these little cuts are obviously going to take way less to cook than some of these bigger bits of roast. It's going to be delicious. And the other thing is with this little outpost, so this is like the kettle hook. We can also take this a little lower. We can grab our pot over here. Hopefully it's not too hot. Maybe with your other hand.
I figured it would.
Is it hot? You want to throw it up on that little hook for me?
You got it.
Now that our our artichokes are boiling, right on. And so we're looking for a soft, like kind of texture in our flesh for the artichokes where they're not, so these are Jerusalem artichokes. They're not like, the traditional big green ones that you're thinking of.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
These are a Jerusalem artichoke. We're just gonna give them a little bit of time to get softened down, and then we're going to add a beautiful bit of goat's brie cheese here into that. We're going to smash them up, add that in, and it's going to be sitting in the center of those artichokes while they get a little bit of color on them. And this is essentially going to be a little bit of our dipping sauce for our meat.
Right on.
Get some soft brie cheese going.
Heck yeah.
So I'm really looking for a little bit of caramelization on it, and it's still super rare. Like you can feel that when you touch. I don't know if you got hot hands, but you can feel how rare that is. So like I said, I really want this to be sort of on the border of like medium rare.
Agreed.
Most venison I think should be eaten kind of like medium rare with like a really nice crust, or slow cooked and like broken down into like a pulled kind of situation, right? So I'm going to lift up this outpost. Essentially, when you're cooking on fire, I like to think of a post like this where you raise it up and down, essentially being a little bit like the control on your oven. So when you think about you've got like high, low, medium heat, essentially you've got like high heat, medium, low. And so that's how I like to use my like outpost like this. And the other way you can control that obviously is by bringing coals in up under it or like taking it away. But it's much better to do it in this motion rather than like disturbing our fire too much. Because when you disturb the fire, you're kind of breaking the coals. When anything kind of smokes, when you get like a lot of smoke and you're like, it's really smoky or whatever, either the wood is wet or the fire's starting to go out, so it's smoldering. And so that's when you would want to add another log on or something like that so that you're basically not extinguishing your fire.
Right on.
So the meat's starting to it's got a really nice color on it, which is what we want. It's got some caramelization, and that's from the molasses we added. Also, naturally, this meat has got like a nice sweetness to it. And we're just gonna raise it up, let it start to take on board that smoky flavor and rest a little bit, because our artichokes are taking a little longer than I was expecting. But hey, it's all right. We got a pickled margarita.
Yeah, no
and
complaints.
A pretty bloody epic view to chill out and take in.
Heck yeah, that's pretty incredible.
Pretty incredible.
That snow in the mountains.
Dusty, can you tell me a little bit about your experience of cooking game meat? How have you found it and approached it, and do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, so my experience is pretty limited. It's most of it is out in the field. We usually just killed the animal, and we're tired of eating freeze-dried meals. So we're cutting out tenderloins or backstrap steaks.
And you just like reverse searing them kind of thing.
Or just like, yeah, literally I'll stick a stick right through the center of it and hang it over the flames and
eat that thing.
But with like nothing on it.
So do you typically with your other cuts of meat like grind them down into like ground meat?
Yeah, a lot of it. That's one of my favorites. I just love having ground wild game on hand.
Just ready
always.
to fry up. Having to like master the art of cooking leaner meat is that it's kind of quite forgiving.
Okay. Yeah. It's like, what I've noticed is it's easier like when people are around. It's just easier. Like, oh yeah, let's make some burgers real quick, or let's just throw it in spaghetti or something.
Yep.
But I like exploring, like
New ways
cooking
to cook
these.
it.
Yeah, it's like it's fun and different, and then just learning how to butcher them the correct way and pulling out all the different cuts.
Yeah, because it's quite fascinating when you're dealing with like game meat. It's a little like smaller, it's a little leaner. It's a different kind of process.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm glad I could show you some stuff.
Yeah, I'm stoked to keep learning. The lid flip.
Did a lid flip. Okay, so I just flipped the lid of my cast iron Dutch oven just because we kind of underestimated how long artichokes take to cook. So we're going to skip the artichokes part and just go straight into dipping the meat into some brie cheese before we lose this light. Do you have a problem with that?
Heck no.
I didn't think so. So I've just got my little brie cheese under here. Getting it nice and soft and melted. So when we slice up the deer meat, we can just dip it straight in. Bit like a bit of bread and cheese.
Heck yeah. I do have a question for you, actually.
Okay, what's your question?
Something I feel like I always struggle with over open flames is how long to actually like
cook something for?
Yeah, like how do you know that that's actually medium rare versus
a lot of it
through?
Is like you can obviously use a meat probe to do that. That is a really great way of like getting started. For me, it's just become feel, and I really know now like when something's kind of like medium rare just by looking at it, seeing
Firmness?
how tight the meat is, how firm it is.
Okay.
Even like how long I like reverse sear it and rest it for. Like even this steak, for example, it's definitely a little thicker, but it's got a nice little bit of tightness to it. But I've gotten the flavor I wanted into it by giving it the caramelization, and now it's just like cooking it however you want it. But the nice thing about this is actually when you cook it this way, when you slice it up the next day for breakfast and like reverse sear a thin slice, that's
where it's
gonna
at?
change your life.
Right on.
Leftovers.
I love leftovers.
Yeah.
I love leftovers.
What I'm looking for in my cheese is like melt. It's getting there.
Like internally?
You kind of want it to be really gooey and melty. Do you have your knife on you?
Yes, I do.
Slice it a bit up, brother. How's that looking?
Looks good to me.
I mean, you could season it up. Got a little bit of rock on it.
A little bit of granite. Still good though. It's good though. I
What
like
do you think of
that.
the flavor?
I like that. The molasses, right? That's what you put on it. That's sweet.
I'm not really liking the rock taste, but the rest is good.
Yeah.
All right, add cheese. See this? Puff Daddy.
Oh,
This is what we're looking for. There's like little puff starting to like pop out the sides. That thing is ready to be eaten. Being this cast iron is obviously super hot,
yeah.
so it's going to keep cooking it, which is fine.
And that cheese is like spilling out. Looks so good.
All right, ready to try a little bit? See how your cheese is just like oozing out?
Oh yeah.
Get in there, Dusty. Mmm. The goat's cheese with it. Could do with a tiny bit of salt, but A little more rest time to sweeten it up.
That's good. I like that.
Do you? What do you
Yeah.
like about it?
I like the cheese. Like
Everybody
the cheese on
loves
it.
cheese.
Yeah.
What is it, the cheese that's sort of different for you?
Honestly, the creaminess on it. I think more the texture.
It also
like
is a
the
little
flavor
more
too,
like
but-
strong, right? It's not
Yeah.
like your typical cow's breed. Like the goat is going to have a slightly like more depth of flavor. This is the second time I've used goat's milk in a cheese for cooking game meat.
Yeah.
I think
like
there's something
goats.
about it that has this really like rich, kind of robust flavor. Yum.
Definitely different than the cows.
Mm, I love that. With the molasses, like the sweetness of the molasses and the like
I like that crunch that comes.
star anise flavor in it, the like little bit of, you guys gotta try this. It's a winner.
Heck yeah, you want me to feed you?
Well, thank you so much for watching this episode with Dusty and Sarah. We'll have
Heck
plenty
yeah.
more epic adventures and recipes coming your way. Make sure that you subscribe to this YouTube channel, to mine and Dusty's. Hit the bell so you know when a new recipe is coming your way and a new adventure, right?
Bunch of shenanigans.
Bunch of shenanigans. Leave us some comments. Let us know what you would like us to cook, maybe what you'd like to learn about hunting, cooking whole animal,
Yeah. Fishing.
anything. Just say g'day, you know?
Say hey.
Holla.
Good day.
Holler at us.
Yeah, holler at us,
Thanks for
sure.
joining. We really appreciate you stopping by. Next time.